Battle through the firmament. Grand world. Chapter 314 The Jewel of Flames. This flame is. Elder Wu was dumbfounded as he stared at the crimson gold flame that suddenly appeared on Xiaoyan's body. If the feeling Zhu Tianhou gave him was surprise, then the feeling Xiaoyan gave him was completely astonishment. With his Monic Emperor strength, he could naturally clearly sense who was stronger and weaker. The feeling Zhu Tianhou gave him was that the flame seemed to have condensed from within his body. The flame that surged around Xiaoyan's body was filled with a wild and violent strength, causing him to feel ashamed. It wasn't just Elder Wu. The few elders behind him were also dumbstruck. They couldn't react in time when they saw the sudden change in Xiaoyan and Zhu Tianhou. With Zhan Kai's reminder, Yuan Tianmu wasn't really surprised by Zhu Tianhou's change, but his heart was filled with thousands of wild waves when it came to Xiaoyan. This is the first time I saw this guy. He actually hid this move in such a dangerous situation. What a good guy. When I used this move, Li Yin didn't even have the chance to attack. Yuan Tianmu's expression was solemn. His calm heart was trembling slightly. Looking at the flames flowing around Xiaoyan's body, he suddenly felt a trace of fear. The smile on Mu Yuyang's face disappeared. He looked at Xiaoyan with a more serious expression. Lin Dao, Su Qingwu, Wei Li, and the other experts of Realm in Valley all looked at the two people on the scene, deep in thought. This flame. When Zhu Tianhou saw the flame around Xiaoyan, his pupils suddenly shrank to the size of a pinhole. There was a trace of emotion on his cold face. The Saint Soul Fire body was known as the King Body of Fire. No matter what kind of flame it was, it had a suppressive effect. However, when faced with the flame around Xiaoyan, he did not move at all. Could it be a high-grade beast fire? Zhu Tianhou frowned slightly. He also knew that his sacred spirit fire body was only at the initial stage. It was far from being completely mastered. He was somewhat powerless when faced with a high-grade heavenly beast and above beast fire. No matter what grade of beast fire it is, the sacred spirit fire body is able to suppress all flames under the heavens. Even if it's a dragon, it has to obediently crawl down for me. A cold laugh sounded. Zhu Tianhou furiously shouted. His body rushed towards Xiaoyan like a lightning bolt. The fire source key in the air was completely controlled by him, turning into invisible sharp blades that rushed towards Xiaoyan together with his body. This is a strange feeling. Xiaoyan's deep voice did not speak. The moment the Monic flame appeared, he could clearly sense that the Monic flame had a different feeling from the past. It was as if it had an emotion as it burned even more vigorously. When he recovered his senses, a smile also surged onto the corner of Xiaoyan's mouth when he saw Zhu Tianhou rushing away. Sacred Spirit Fire Body, Flame Emperor. Let me see who is better in front of the Monic flame. Swish. Both of their bodies were like lightning as they rushed towards each other. At the peak of the Heaven Pillar Peak, the consumption of Origin Monic Ki was extremely intense. Hence, this was basically the final attack of both of them. Both of them seemed to have turned into flames. Crimson flames surged around Zhu Tianhou's body, making him look like a surging flood dragon as he roared furiously. Crimson gold flames circulated around Xiaoyan's body, and like a furious dragon, he charged forward without any fear. While everyone was staring at the battlefield, a figure suddenly descended from the sky. No one noticed it. The person stared at Xiaoyan. When he saw the flame on Xiaoyan's body, he couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. This is a Monic flame. The person who came was Su Jiang. He was wearing a green robe, and the strong wind from the peak of the mountain didn't affect him at all. As he looked at the flame around Xiaoyan's body, a strange look suddenly appeared in his eyes. No, it doesn't look like the 3000 lightning Monic flame. Su Jiang's eyes stared intently at the crimson gold flame on Xiaoyan's body. After musing for a moment, he shook his head and rejected it. After which, he looked at Zhu Tianhou, and the corner of his mouth revealed an unknown smile. Sacred Spirit Fire Body. This kid is really hard to come by. Looks like he is still a little weak. not comparable to Mu Yiyu's illusion purple eye. He mumbled to himself a few times. Su Jiang's body trembled and disappeared once again. In the blink of an eye, Mu Yuyang seemed to have sensed something. He frowned and looked around but found nothing. Almost at the same time that Su Jiang disappeared, Xiaoyan and Zhu Tianhou collided violently like two shooting stars. In an instant, the flames were overflowing, and the red flames roared. The sound of the blue flame ruler and the flaming spear vibrating seemed to ring in everyone's hearts. As the ruler and spear bombarded, the flames surged violently. Sensing that Zhu Tianhou's strength was not inferior to his, Xiaoyan was slightly surprised. Immediately, his footsteps changed. The blue flame ruler was like a falling meteor as it slammed down fiercely. Zhu Tianhou's expression did not change. The flaming spear in his hand was raised vertically, and he firmly caught Xiaoyan's lightning-like strike. Xiaoyan's eyes sparkled. He jumped up and firmly inserted the blue flame ruler into the ground. The consumption of origin monic qi was getting faster and faster. He needed to determine the victor as soon as possible. He couldn't continue to fight with Zhu Tianhou. Zhu Tianhou had obviously thought of this as well. He gently clenched his palm. The flaming spear turned into a fiery light and dissipated, meeting Xiaoyan's gaze. In the next moment, the two of them rushed over once again at the same time. The origin qi on their bodies flowed, and they looked majestic and imposing. Hong! Xiaoyan and Zhu Tianhou's palms collided with each other. The crimson gold flame and the red flame collided and merged together. It was as if the heavenly thunder had ignited the earth fire, causing the ground where the two of them stood to split open. The intense heat caused the air to become moist and then evaporate. Zhu Tianhou's eyes were scarlet red, and his red hair was fluttering in the wind. The fire symbol on his forehead was like a demonic flower that was slowly blooming. As the flower bloomed, Xiaoyan could feel that an even more intense flame and strange fluctuation was continuously surging out from within Zhu Tianhou's body. Under the influence of this fluctuation, the monic flame actually felt as if it had broken free from his control. It is indeed interesting. When Xiaoyan saw this, he grinned, and his mind was calm. He held his yuan and guarded one. The Chaos Great Monic Flame had completely merged with his body when he entered the fighting Monic realm. It had already become a part of his body, and the 3,000 lightning Monic Flames had also been devoured by the Coe. It had indirectly become a part of his body. With Zhu Tianhou's sacred spirit fire body, which he could not cultivate, trying to control his Monic Flame was simply wishful thinking. Outside the arena, the joy on Zan Kai's face slowly disappeared. He had previously promised Yuan Tianmu that the sacred spirit fire body could control all flames in the world, but when faced with Xiaoyan's flames, he actually did not move at all. How is this possible? Seeing that the sacred spirit fire body's ability had no effect on Xiaoyan's flames, Zhu Tianhou's fiery brows couldn't help but tremble. The demonic flower on his forehead had already fully bloomed. Almost all of the fire source qi in this area was subservient to him. It continuously flowed into Zhu Tianhou's body, increasing the power of the sacred spirit fire body. However, the flames around Xiaoyan did not show any signs of movement. What kind of flame is this? The intense consumption of the origin monic qi caused Zhu Tianhou to gasp for breath. He clearly felt that he could knock Xiaoyan down with a single strike, but the flames that Xiaoyan possessed were like an insurmountable barrier that couldn't be penetrated. Xiaoyan was already sweating profusely. He felt a wave of dizziness in front of his eyes. Although he didn't have any problems controlling the monic flame's strength, the consumption of his mental energy was extremely huge. Hearing Zhu Tianhou's voice, Xiaoyan looked at him and was about to say something. Suddenly, the demonic flower on Zhu Tianhou's forehead trembled. At the same time, Zhu Tianhou's movement froze. Xiaoyan was stunned for a moment before he quickly recovered his senses. The remaining origin monic qi in his body surged out wildly and gathered on his palms. The monic flames violently surged and broke through Zhu Tianhou's flame barrier like rotten weeds. They violently smashed onto the latter's chest. Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.